Hi there. My name is Michelle Reese Johnson with the Mayor Estate Legal Plan. Congratulations on setting up your estate plan and meeting with your notary to get all your documents signed and in place. I'm sure you feel a great sense of relief and that you are excited that this is finally off your to-do list, right? At least that's what most of our clients say. So, congratulations to you. And I'm here today to help you follow up with the next step after you get your trust signed. So, now that you have this gorgeous book in your hands, also has a little on the side, it says estate plan. You're going to put that in your shelf, right? Or let your successor trustees know that you've created and completed your living trust and that they know where to find it in case something happens. So, with that said, my most important thing after you sign your living trust is to talk to you about funding your living trust or putting your assets inside of your living trust. It's called funding. And the first and most important thing is your real estate. We've taken care of that when the notary showed up. Any real estate you have, more than likely, we have created deeds that will transfer that from you into your living trust. Those deeds are going to come back to AmeriEstate, and we're going to handle the recording of those deeds. Once those are recorded, we're going to turn around and mail those originals back to you. So when you get them, put them in the flap of your book or somewhere where you keep your papers. And we know that at least your deeds and your most important asset is in your trust, right? Well, what about all the other assets that you have? When it comes to financial accounts, those are usually the next important step that you need to pay attention to. I know a lot of people have got their trust signed, but they don't follow up with the next important asset. We're going to talk about those. So in section 1 of your book, it's going to go through that step that you need to take. I've highlighted it right here, the critical second step. That's what I'm talking to you about right now. So when you have financial accounts, they're basically separated into two different types of assets. They're called non-qualified assets and qualified assets. What are non-qualified assets? Well, those are things like non-retirement type assets. Things like banking, checking, savings, CDs, stocks and bonds, investment accounts that are not tied up into like a retirement type asset. Okay, so those are your non-qualified accounts. The other types of accounts are called qualified accounts, and those are things like IRAs, 401ks, most annuities, and then you have life insurance, which is neither, but it's a beneficiary designated asset. So we're going to talk about that. And after we talk about these things, we're going to go into cars, boats, planes, motorhomes, things like that. And I'm also going to touch on businesses. So let's talk about your non-qualified accounts. The non-qualified accounts, like the assets I just mentioned, are important to also get retitled or funded into your living trust. So if you just go to section 1, you're going to see some information about funding your living trust, with the exception of IRAs and other tax qualified plans. All of those assets, which are non-qualified assets, should be titled in the name of the trust. And so just to pay attention to section 1, and also if your bankers or your investment advisors ask you, well, what is your tax ID number for your trust? It's going to be your social security number. If you're married, it's normally the husband's. If you're single, it's just yours. Okay, so use your social security number for your tax ID number. And just know that section 1 is here for you just to review and to make sure that you understand that process of how to retitle those accounts into your trust, okay? The next section I'm going to talk about is section 4. Section 4 is the document called trust certification and the abstract of trust. Now, this trust certification in your trust is all filled out and signed and dated. This is what you're going to either give to your financial advisor, your stockbroker, or show up at your bank with. They want to see the certified information that is you've certified that it's true and correct, which is the name of the trust, the date of the trust, how many trustees are there, is it revocable, all the information they need. And right here is a place you can put your social security number. You're going to give them this whole signed document. I recommend you bring copies. Don't give anybody your originals. And then the memorandum and abstract of trust is simply a condensed version of the whole trust, which is this section 2 of your book, which is about 38 pages. So you don't need to bring the whole book down to the bank, but I recommend if you've got your document, maybe bring it with you, and they're going to want you to pull out section 4 of your book. And what that's going to do is you're going to tell them that I'd like to retitle my bank accounts into the name of my trust, and here is the information about that. Okay, so they're going to turn around and fill out some new, probably signature cards and things like that. Hopefully they can keep the same account number. Some banks will make you open up a new account number, but usually they will be able to keep the same account number and just retitle it from you, or you and your husband, or husband and wife as joint tenants from you into trustees of your living trust. And that is how you fund or retitle your bank accounts into your living trust. You're going to do the same thing with your stock brokerage firm, your investment portfolio, any kind of investment account that is not a retirement type account. You're going to need to do the same across the board. And when you do this, in section 6 of your book, this is where you're actually going to list what you have. Now, if you haven't done this when the notary showed up, which sometimes the notary just leaves that up to you because you might have a lot of accounts. So the first thing in section 6 is we list your real estate, what we've put into your trust. The second part is, do you have a business? We're going to list that here. And the other part is, do you have any secured or unsecured notes? You want to list those here. But page 2 is where you're going to list those financial assets or non-qualified accounts. The checking, the savings, the CDs, the investment accounts that are not an IRA or wrapped up in a 401k. So list those here, and you can put the account number, the account type, and the manner held, which would be, I just put trust or community property to trust. Here's some codes on the bottom. Okay, and then if you want to list cars and things, you can put those in here. And I recommend that when you have cars, most of the time it's the expensive cars that you want to retitle or re-register into the name of your trust. So contact the DMV. And also if you have any boats or planes or motorhomes, those more expensive assets that are basically paid off, it's important to put those into the trust through each through the DMV or through wherever you register your boats and planes, things like that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And then this last page, Schedule A1, is where you're going to list your insurance. You can put your insurance policies here, your IRAs, who's it with, who owns it, whose account is it. And what you're going to do on these assets is list them here so your successor trustee knows that you have these things. But the important part on the qualified accounts, which it says right here, life insurance, annuities, qualified accounts such as IRAs, KIOs, and 401ks, is make sure you have your beneficiaries set up properly. So if you're a husband and wife, usually the wife and the husband is the first primary beneficiary at 100%. And then if you have adult children that are not special needs or have any issues, you could actually put their names as the backup beneficiaries. Some of our clients like to name the trust the primary beneficiary behind the husband and wife because they might have special needs children, minor children, or kids that they really don't want them to get their hands on a bunch of money right away because there's maybe a divorce going on or something's happening. So it's okay to put the trust as a backup beneficiary, but make sure you check all these kind of qualified accounts and life insurance policies, that they're also wrapped up. That's part of, it's not really funding because you're not putting these things in your trust. They remain in your name, but you're making sure your beneficiaries are locked down and followed up with and updated if needed. Okay, so list those also in section 6 of your book. Now I want to jump back to section 5. Now section 5, you're going to notice that there's a lot of blank forms in section 5. But the first thing about section 5 is, again, funding your trust. It talks to you about how to do it. Transferring property to your trust. It also talks to you about how to do that. What about if you have stock certificates? It's going to talk to you about what to do with those stock certificates. Some people still have that paper stock certificate. I recommend that maybe you just go ahead and turn that into your brokerage firm and just kind of retire that old paper, because if they burn up or something happens, they're lost. So if you want to hold on to your paper stock certificates, there's a definite process in doing that. And you need to basically turn them into your brokerage firm, and then they must reissue them into your trust. So if you have any questions about that, you can give us a call or your brokerage firm. Another thing you want to make sure that you take care of is following through on any businesses that you have. Now, if we knew up front that you have a business, you probably have an assignment that you signed that was in the front of your book. So you're going to sign, notarize, and date that, but there's a follow-up method that you need to actually transfer the stock within your corporation or on the LLC, that your shares are now transferred into your living trust by doing your minutes. So follow up with that. If you have any questions, give us a call. And if you have any notes or deeds of trust that maybe you're holding against a piece of property, know that those should be transferred into your trust through a deed process. Let us know if we didn't cover that. Okay, just give us a call. So section 5 is basically to help you if you wanted to send any letters to your institutions, letting them know you have a trust and the name of the trust and the date of the trust. That's what these blank letters are there for in section 5 of the book. But those banks are going to turn around and send you their own paperwork. So that will just get the process started, but you're still going to have to do some paperwork with them. So I just say contact them by phone or pull their forms down on beneficiary changes on their website, fill those out, and get those to your companies that you have your policies or financial accounts with, okay? And the last section I want to share with you is section 7. This is a great section for you. I'm sure the notary went over it with you, but this is also kind of funding all your personal things into your trust, like your furniture, fixtures, all that kind of stuff. So this is what we do in this section is we assign these assets to your trust. And then we also have a digital asset section where any passwords and things are assigned to your trust. So make sure that that's done. The notary should have gone through that with you. And also right here, you each have a place to put who you want to give personal property to. Like if you want to give a specific ring or a watch or something that's of value that you want to make sure goes to your sister or whatever. That's what this section is for in section 7. And you can use this as life goes on. You're just going to date it, describe what it is, who's going to get it, and sign it. So each of you, if you're a husband or wife, you have a couple pages here, and the wife has a couple pages. If you need more of these pages, give us a call. We'll send you some out via email. So funding is definitely super important, and following up with this video is just making sure that we have done our job and that you and your heirs are protected, because these assets can go through probate if they're not titled into the trust. So thank you so much for your time, and we are so appreciative that you chose AmeriEstate to prepare your living trust and documents, and we're here for you for the life of your trust. All right, so have a wonderful rest of your day, and give us a call if you have any questions. Bye-bye.